Hi, Museum with Lotus, we are back after the Chinese New Year break. What do you do during Chinese New Year?
Invited almost every single night to friends.
Right?
Lot of food, lots of cookies, lots of drinking. So it was really, really nice.
It's a moment and it's a period of celebration, huh?
It's a
Definitely.
period of celebration and looking forward from lunch to dinner and the day after again and again for almost 3 consecutive days. So yes, a lot of enjoyment, catching up with friends and beautiful moments.
First, we should cheers to coming back to a museum in Lotus, because today is the 15th episode.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And as we know that Museum in Lotus, what we do in this whole series is that we talk about things that, private collections of mastering that are not for sale. For the past 14 episodes, we have jumped to many different regions and countries across different timelines. Yuan Dynasty was a stunning one, the pair of lions. I mean, Yuan Dynasty was like 500-600 years ago.
Yes.
Right? Then, of course, we saw a lot of different antiques from this whole region. Precious Buddha sculptures that's amazing, would just let you go on your knees and pray to them. I like that blessing altar that we retrofitted with a mirror very much.
Yes.
Right,
yes.
that was stunning, yeah.
It's very, very beautiful, detailed, and it will have connection with this particular Buddha, of course, because it's a Mandalay period, which is 19th century.
So Mr. Pino has actually given a hint that today we are going to talk about this mega piece. You know how mega is this piece? This piece that, I don't think you can catch it entirely on camera, that is actually not put on any stand. It is as tall as how it is. I mean, it's so tall that, I'm not absolutely super tall, but I mean, if I stand up, it's still taller than me. We're going to talk about this amazing and stunning piece of sculpture today. So it's a great day to like and share, especially since you're still in the New Year period. We all want to be blessed with good energy.
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
And there were many other artifacts that we talked about, not for sale once again, that we actually turn into good use in the gallery premises as well, right? Like the northern chairs we are sitting on. We have been sitting on it for many episodes. A southern chairs the week before. You're so comfortable.
Yes.
And we know that during Mastering's blessing and re-blessing sessions, we have made great use of the pillar of light, the mega pillar of light from Kerala, and the Tanzi chest that's from the Meiji period, combining the elegance and prosperity from so many different spectrum, so many different cultures into your collection, right? So do like and share, because today we are still in the Chinese New Year mood, and Mr. Joseph Pei is going to share with us something that's connected, and we are first going to connect with a piece of artifact that we are familiar with, because we talked about this before we went to all the 3 consecutive days of celebration. Am I right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And it is this chest right in front of me that I'm using it to hold my handphone now. Yeah, right.
Let's start. We briefly touched about this chest last time, but I also promised that I would have come back at the beginning of the Chinese New Year.
Then we'll go deeper into this chest.
And we'll go a little bit deeper. Now, we talked last time about big cats.
Right.
And big cats basically coming from Tibet and coming from China.
Yes,
and in particular, we spoke about 2 Tibetan chests. In particular, a larger one, and this chest, which is much smaller.
Right.
But very beautiful. You might remember that the previous chest, which we illustrated last time, had on the face a very linear, simple, Zen-like stripes.
Correct, the bigger one.
The bigger one. Instead, this is very special because it portrays the entire tiger. So we can see every single detail of a beautiful tiger. Now, when we just illustrate about this chest, first of all, we see the position of the tiger. The tiger is sinuous. Look at the body. The body is muscular. When you look at the legs, are very vigorous. The pawns are extended on the back, and the front are smaller, as it's actually supposed to be. Look at the detail of the stripes, how beautiful they are. Look at the head and the definition of all the details of the head. you can see the mouth, you can see the front teeth, you can see the whiskers, you can see every single aspect of the tiger. Now look what the tiger is doing.
Yeah.
The tiger is just looking aside, almost to make sure that there's no predators, human predators, but also big animals. The tiger would be afraid, if you wish, about something like elephants, buffaloes, very, very big and extremely potent animals like this. So this is what the tiger is doing.
I see.
Now you look at the beautiful the tail is. The tail balances the animal, and that's a very important element of the tiger. Now, the tiger is fearless. No, it has no one that would make her scare, although it would be attentive, okay? Now, when we look at the tiger, there's an immediate association. And as I mentioned, this is 19th century softwood coming from Tibet, possibly the easternmost area of Tibet, which is Kham, which I explained borders with China, and again, 19th century. So when we look at the tiger, why the Tibetans love tigers, love the pale tigers? Because they recognize the strength and the power which was associated with a tiger. Many monks used to actually pray and meditate on the original pelts. But over the years, the animals were not anymore available, and therefore they did not have them. And because of the power and the strength, then what the weavers, and in particular the carpets weavers, who had a fantastic experience in their own weaving, what they would represent in the carpets, they would be tigers. Now, by association, therefore, the tiger were recognized, and the design of carpets were recognized as authority.
Yes.
So again, the authority of the high lamas. Now, this is just the front. And if you look at the front, we have a very unusual border all around, which I've not seen many times, this border here.
Yeah, yeah.
And this border is basically encapsulated by actually two other frames of different colors.
Right, right.
When we look now at the top of this chest, we can actually see clouds. But what is important about this cloud is the influence that the Tibetans basically received from the Chinese. On beautiful silk textiles, especially the Ming period, we can actually see exactly the same kind of design.
Yeah, it's very Chinese looking
And they
clothes.
were so attracted. They didn't have silk, or they didn't have enough silk, if not the one that they would buy. And so they wanted to reproduce this beautiful design on this chest.
Right. It's quite astonishing because you have the, I mean, now they explain it that actually here we have the tiger.
Yes.
An energetic one, a vigorous one, a prosperous one, and hopefully this would be how the year of the tiger will look for everyone.
Yes.
Yeah? And on the top of the chest, this is the top cover, we have the clouds.
Yes.
As if it's very wholesome, you know. It's very embodying the entire perspective of the skies on the top. And then you have the lion that is looking towards, it's actually looking a little bit upwards, you know, slightly, slightly, here.
But look at the eyes, how
Strength.
well they've been defined, the whisker, as I mentioned earlier. Now, what we also see in the front, we see basically iron carved piece,
Yes.
which would go from the top, of course, from the lid down to the base, so that a lock would actually secure the contents of this small chest.
This is the lock thing here.
This is the
Actually,
lock.
you know, after 300 years, this thing still fits very perfectly.
Perfectly, absolutely perfectly.
You don't have to call a locksmith for this to happen.
No, no.
Yeah,
and
it fits very good.
And it's very strong.
If you manage to find that, if you manage to come up with a lock thing, it fits perfect.
Perfectly. And look at the details of this work here. Now, let me just analyze, if you wish, the side of this wonderful chest. And again, you see that there's the continuation of the same kind of frame that we see in the front. It's exactly the same, beautiful. But what is astonishing, in my opinion, is this flower.
Okay.
And it's yellow. And
yes. At both sides, it's the same.
both sides, exactly the same thing. And to the best of my understanding, this would be the peony.
Oh, it's what we call in Chinese a 牡丹. 牡丹 is a peony.
Peony. And it's very rare flower. It's the most important flower, actually, after the lotus.
In Buddhism.
In Buddhism. And it's recognized by the Tibetans as the flower of gods.
Right.
And for the Chinese in particular, it would actually mean spring.
Yes.
And this is spring. We've just
spring.
started the
It's
season
definitely
of spring.
So we are very, I mean, other than the yellow tiger that been one, we are also in spring. So
Just started.
this is the chest for this season.
Chest for this season. On top of that, it has a beautiful omen, and that is of God, of good fortune. Then it also means love and affection.
Right.
And this is something that we wish everybody good luck. We wish, again, the spring, and that is a new season, a season of new happenings, and we also wish love and happiness together with companionship.
Right. This, I mean, since you talk about this is, it comes to my attention that the flower by the side is actually peony, is 牡丹. I mean, friends will be familiar with this flower because this is the flower that is on Master Yun's painting as well.
Oh, yes.
I mean, we have a calligraphy here, but we know that in his painting we've seen before, whether it's cranes, whether it's peacocks, those the motifs. The other motif, M-O-T-I-F, is that if there were to be a flower, it would be a peony.
A peony.
Yeah, because peony actually represents prosperity. It actually also represents power. So there's this lady emperor in China. I mean, China has many emperors, ancient China. But there was only one time when there was a lady who was the emperor. They will be familiar, you will be familiar. It's called Wu Zetian. Her name is called Wu Zetian, Tang Dynasty. So her favorite flower, it's the peony.
Right.
So it's definitely a symbol. I mean, combining together with the tiger. I mean, it's a Tibetan monastery chest. That's been one thing. It's definitely a second flower after the lotus being one. But it also coincides with the tiger to talking about power, talking about status, and talking about prosperity as well.
And strength of
And
the
strength,
tiger.
yeah. So this chest is really has quite the connection with what's going on here then.
And the season. We've just
And
entered the season.
And the season, and the year, and the season. So we probably will put this chest in where the southern chairs are.
Yes.
Where the Jisimu chest, the Ming style Qing Dynasty chest is. And see, we will be using this during our 19th of February event.
It would
Hopefully,
be lovely.
Yeah, yeah.
It would be lovely.
Probably we'll put our lucky draw prizes inside, yeah.
Why not?
Well, this chest, as I mentioned, I really like it because of the size. It's not too heavy, but it's very neatly done. And I mean, come on, 300 years, about 300 years, 200-300 years. Can
And
we
in
stand
very
all
good,
those
I would say
weather?
in very good condition. I mean, normal
Brilliant.
wear and tear. But other than that, it's okay. Some loss of the painting. We can see actually the grain of the wood. But the overall is very clear and readable, I would say. We
Yes.
would actually be able to understand what the designs are.
I encourage all friends to come by the gallery from Thursday onwards, if you have not done so, to feel and with your hands and with your eyes, to feast on this beautiful and amazing chest. Since it's the year of the tiger, previously it was still the year of the ox, now with the year of the tiger. It's wonderful.
Very nice. I
Right.
think it's a very beautiful little precious gem.
Yes. This chest was what we talked about the week before. Since we're starting this episode in the new year, we bring this chest here. But we're not just about this chest.
No.
Even the table that this chest is resting on
It's an amazing table. Yes, very, very beautiful.
Shall we take a look at the table?
Yes.
Okay, let me just move the tiger away. Okay. I'm just going to put the tiger here. Okay.
As Mr. Khan was just mentioning a minute ago, this is a Chinese table. Very beautiful Chinese table, all lacquered, 19th century, Qing dynasty, in extremely beautiful condition. And what I admire about this table is the way it's been created. So when you look at the sides are actually partly curved.
Right.
And then at the end of this curve, we have this curl that ends the table, and that is where the actual table rests.
I see. So this whole thing is a table. It's 19th century China.
19th century China.
That means it's about 200 over years.
Yes.
200 over years. And Mr. Giuseppe, you are mentioning that at the ends of the table,
yes,
okay, more champagne for the new year.
Thank you.
That we see the curve, and the artistic thing about it is that it curves in and forms the base of the table as well.
Correct. And it's all made of wood. Unfortunately, because of the lacquer, we cannot detect what is the wood, but definitely a very hard wood and very heavy.
The lacquer is still very much vibrant on...
Vibrant, beautiful. Of course, there's the crackling, which is normal for the passage of time, which in my modest opinion, it adds rather than subtract to this table. It has that beautiful feel of history and passage of the time. Now, what do I see here? I see a beautiful bucolic scenery. What do I see? I see these dignitaries. This is what they appear to me. They're all wearing very beautiful attires, very detailed attires. You can even see the faces of these people. They're slightly, if you come and you touch, and please do so, they are a bit in relief. So imagine, on top of the table, there were many, many layers of black lacquer, and on top of the lacquer, then there was the depiction of these dignitaries, and again, all in relief.
Oh, what Mr. Pino is trying to say is that the picture that is on the main frame of the tabletop.
Yes.
It's with mountains, it's with distant waters and all this, but there are people there as well.
Yes.
Probably the back of the house, back of a mansion, and if you touch it, that the figures, the faces, the hands, and their robes is popping up.
Popping up.
It's not totally flat. It's a slight bit embossed. Yes, the word. Embossed. Oh, yes, the word embossed.
Yes.
Okay. Wow, the pains to actually get this thing done. Oh.
Embossed.
And the mountains, the distant mountains
incredible.
as well.
And this, following the iconography of the Chinese paintings, we would see the beautiful trees, we would see the rocks, we would see the mountains, and we would see also houses further back.
Right.
Now we can also see water running around the houses.
Yeah, now that you mention, yeah.
Yes, there's water.
Right. There's water here.
There's water.
No, this is land. This is land.
And this water.
This is all land. This is water.
This is water, correct. This is water.
Oh, I get it.
And you see, even these are the mountains which you see very far away. So a beautiful composition. And what we see, that this wonderful, I would even call it paintings. Look at the houses and the details of the roof of the houses. Very detailed, with minute lines that would represent the top of the roof. Now, we also see around a beautiful T-meander border. Again, this is something that we often see in Chinese paintings over the century in China. Then on the side here, we see all around beautiful foliage and flowers.
Right, it's all around it. There are lots of little details that you should come in and really appreciate.
Very minute details again. Now, when we look at the side here, I don't know if you can see it, but there's an enormous cartouche, which is central. And then we see from one side a branch, and the branch has multiple fruits with leaves. Now, on one of the branches, we see a beautiful bird, and the bird is above water and above land.
I see.
Now, when we look at the outside of the cartouche, we again see flowers, and we see the arabesque, which are particular designs that we see. Now, when I look at these three images, and the lateral one, the side ones, and the top one, it reminds very much to me the paintings that you would see in China, as I touched earlier, over the century. So beautiful, refined table. But the question is, how would they use this table? They will use it in many different ways, but the most possible way is for musical instrument.
Right.
And in particular, there would be the gu zheng and the gu, my pronunciation is wrong, and the gu jin.
Right.
And I can imagine a person seated on a low stool or seated on a cushion and playing this music.
Which means that this table, Qing Dynasty, 19th century, 200 years ago, and because of the way it's designed and all this, and especially the height, give us a clue that it was actually meant for a musical instrument, guzhen or guqin, that thing.
Yes.
The long zither thing. In English, I think it's called zither, Z-I-T-H-E-R,
Yes.
the string instrument where people can play. Because I think one more obvious thing is that by the time it was Ming or Song dynasty, that when people, they want to write calligraphy or whatever that is, they should be already on chairs like this. Chairs were already invented. So they have this normal height table for them to do calligraphy. So if such a thing comes along, it's chances it's not for dining.
No, I
because
don't
they'll
think
be
it is
seated.
dining. Yes.
So it might be for the musician when they sit on the floor and they play the instrument. So pretty much, I think we are talking about something like this. We're talking about something like this height, which that's what they're doing, because I think this feels like an appropriate height for a musical instrument player.
Correct.
Maybe this whole thing was on the stage or something, I don't know, but this seems like the perfect height for this.
Perfect height.
Yeah. In fact, this seems like a perfect position. Yeah.
Imagine the people who would have commissioned a piece like this. I mean, the level of the class, the level of the understanding, the level of the sense of beauty that they had, and at the same time, the quality of the craftsmen who could do something so marvelous.
I'm impressed by the thing that is embossed. You got to feel this, you can't see this, And is it gold?
Can I tell you, it looks like it is. It's gilded. It looks like it's gilded, yes. I mean, look at this beautiful face.
It's at least gold dust or gold color of sorts to make it bright, to make it shiny. So that's really something. Now, what I see from this whole image is that this is land. This is land. But these are perfectly carved lands. That means that they created the island. These are rich people. This is the back of the garden thing. And they are there to appreciate the spring or what stuff.
Ponds.
And ponds. So it's actually a man-made, this is actually a man-made garden.
Yes.
With all the rivers and all the ponds things that's going on inside. And it's a reimagination of the past, because Qing Dynasty people don't look like that. Because in Qing, if this is 19th century, that means it's Qing Dynasty, because Qing Dynasty are the ones where the people will have the pigtails. So they are reimagining, this guy doesn't have a pigtail. They are reimagining people from the Ming Dynasty, or maybe even Song. Yeah.
And they're taking inspiration from the painting of centuries before.
Yeah. Okay.
Imagine the hall that would have a table like this and the musician playing. What a sort of beautiful atmosphere it would have created. And this is definitely for very wealthy families.
No, definitely. I mean, for the details to be like this is definitely for a very wealthy family. And for families to enjoy music, come on, it's definitely going to be a family that's rich enough, because I suppose it's for entertainment, it's for hosting a guest. Then they have something like this. Other than showing off the instrument, the music skills, and so the showing off of this table that's of elaborate detail, which is quite a sign of how Qing Dynasty furniture is. It's also another thing. So it's definitely a sign of prosperity that we have.
And I love the simplicity and the background being, again, black. The crackling that we see here, they don't detract the crackling at all from this beautiful table. It's a reminder of the age.
Yes, yes. You know, the good news is that this table, there are many good news. The one thing is that the table is going to be here for quite a while. But the more important good news is Master Yun is going to use this antique instrument table for our 19th of February reblessing session. Just like how he employed the sunok, the suet, the pillar of light, the tanzi, this instrument table. Oh, this is not. This is of a different way from the entire tiger chest.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, yeah.
This is heavy. This is heavy.
Okay, this will make its debut, or this would be highlighted during the reblessing on 19th of February. This definitely will be one of the piece. So somehow, I don't know how Master Yun will use it, but Master Yun will, through his reblessing session, bring alive, okay, the prosperous and the musical notes of the Qing Dynasty into our world via this table. Can't wait to see what he does, huh?
Absolutely, absolutely.
One thing I know that he might be using this, don't expect, I don't think Master Yun is going to play a musical instrument on this day. Neither are the followers going to do that. But what we know that he might be doing is that we have actually posted about this several times on Facebook, on our social media, that Master Yun will be using a series of seals, S-E-A-L-S, the stem thing, as part of the blessing program, as part of the blessing schedule. The seals, as we have mentioned before, they are items and they are artifacts or symbols of power. It's like a signature, you know. You go to a bank, you need the person's signature. And actually in Japan and Korea, some of them will still use the seal and stamp it on a written ink pack to symbolize that they agree upon this thing. Some people in China still do that. So probably the seals will be stamped or will be printed, will be inked on using this table. One set of the seals that I've mentioned before that Master Yun will be using would be this set over here. And this set is something to take a look at since we are just starting the Chinese New Year, the year of Tiger. Let's take a look at this set. Everything is not like today. Why? Yeah. My God. Okay. This is a set of 12 specially crafted seals that Master Yun will be using for the 19th of February reblessing event. Every single time when Master Yun does his blessing and reblessing event, the three major ones, there will always be some new ideas, you know, to enhance and to bring more power and energy into our clients' collections. So this time around, for the first time, he'll be using several sets of seals. One such set is this one that has the 12 Chinese zodiacs carved on it. Let's take a look. This is the one.
Oh, beautiful.
You know, it matches how the seals are. and how the table is. If you count, there are 12, and we talked about this. That are you familiar with the 12 zodiac sign? So we have the, we have the rat, we have the ox, of course the tiger is here.
Amazing.
That's a tiger.
How beautifully carved.
So this set of seals is carved by a very special person. His name is called Mr. Jing O. Mr. Jing O, he is one of the most leading person for Chinese culture and arts in Japan. It's carved in Japan.
Yes.
And he belongs to this super exclusive club or society that is called 西岭映社. 西岭映社. In English, they call it the 西岭 seal art, the art of the seal society. So it's so exclusive that probably around the whole world, it might only be about 100 over members or less. In Singapore, there were two because one passed on. Okay. In Japan and Korea, probably each of them might only have a handful, and he is one of them. So they are professional and top tier people in carving seals. He was not willing to let go of each of them, not let go individual of them, only when the whole set, and then he gave it to Master Yun. And so Master Yun is going to use these 12 zodiacs seals for the reblessing on the 19th of February. And probably he's going to do it on this table.
Beautiful objects, beautiful seals, very nice.
We were saying that seals are symbols of power. So, like if you want to, remember when we talked about the Ningxia, the vase thing, there was a seal there. There's a remnant of a seal thing. So the seal allows passage. It allows energy to come through. Or it allows people to come through. And now it allows energy to come through. So it's as if, like, if you travel, you go through the custom, they will do that stamping thing.
Yes.
This is a modern seal, right?
Yes.
Now, we have several artifacts that are at hand. We have the Pillar of Light from Korea. We have that Tanzi, prosperity chest from Meiji period. We have this amazing instrument table from the Qing dynasty that for sure 100% is for a well-to-do family. Based on, come on, it's music, it's definitely a well-to-do family. And Master Yun is going to use this seal to call upon these energies from different cultures, different time zones, different time periods to come into our world on the 19th of February.
Wow. With
these seals, as if these are keys to it. That's the thing, yeah.
Beautiful, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, so this is the whole set of 12. Only sets in the whole world. You don't get it anywhere else. Hopefully, after the ceremony, we have a chance to showcase them in the gallery. But before that, it's a precious item.
It's very much so, very much so.
Okay.
And how well they combine this seal with this the color scheme of this table.
100%. Now, you might not be able to see the seal in person, because I'm going to keep it away. But what you can find is that you can find those seals on Master Yun's painting. I think you mentioned this a couple of times, that on his painting and his artwork, there are several seals. Some of them are his signature, some of them represents his will and his ideas about the painting, what it means. It can mean a fish, it can mean prosperity, and so on. But this calligraphy that is right behind us, this thing called 乾坤日月, that means that it's heaven, earth, sun, and moon. Mm-hmm. This is actually the one that would have the exact zodiac seals on it. So if you look at it, this is the rat, there's the monkey, and that's the dragon.
Oh, I see.
So the seals were already being used onto the fengshui calligraphy, right? So while you cannot see the seals in person, you can come here and take a look at this series of calligraphy. As of now, only this series of calligraphy has Master Yun's 12 zodiac seals. Each of them, maximum, will only have 3 of them.
Oh, I can see the dragon very clearly.
Yes.
Monkey,
yes.
Monkey, yes. And the rat.
The rat will take a bit of guesswork, but it might look like a rabbit or a pig, but it's actually a rat.
No, it's a rat.
It's a rat,
it's
yeah.
A rat.
It's a
very,
rat.
Very, very beautiful.
Yep. And you know what's the thing that really corresponds with the table? Now they talk about it. Because when you look at this table, there are areas that are embossed with gold.
Yes.
Take a look at the calligraphy.
Absolutely.
The embossed effect is it's obvious because of the acrylic paint. And then of course we know that Master Twin, it's a generous user of gold. And there we see at the embossed layers, we see the textured gold on it. You know, it forms a good set.
And it's a clear analogy. Clear analogy.
I think there must be something that crosses a lot of generations. That you have gold that we know. Gold means prosperity. Gold means everlasting. For sure, we're going to go on to this mega sculpture behind me. I mean, it's gold as well. It's gold and glittering steel after so many years. The other thing is that, other than it's being gold, which represents what I just mentioned, that the texture that it gives, because it is embossed, not just flat, okay? Somehow it also meant something to artists now and our artists before. If not, it wouldn't make any sense for them to actually do this.
It's three-dimensional.
Three-dimensional. So my guess is that, you know, because for sure people might be able to touch this table, or at least they will be able to go close enough to see what's going on. We're always trying to make, I think artists are always trying to evoke different senses. And having the images to be slightly embossed would give you a different feeling towards the artwork. Be it Master Twin's artwork or be it this amazing table that we have here, right? And these characteristics, correct me if I'm wrong, that we see similar characteristics on this sculpture as well.
But there's so many analogy actually that this is really incredible.
Yeah.
And the way, again, I mentioned earlier, the seals match perfectly the table, but then again the table is matching in terms of color combination, about this three-dimensional effect with this wonderful painting.
Absolutely. So a lot of the elements are connected, and we will see more of them being connected on the 19th of February. But before that, definitely, well, you can contact Kola to send in your collections and so on. We have this sculpture behind us that does have the gold effect as well. That definitely is super textured, super 3D. And he has been here since the start of spring. We just didn't have the time to talk about it. But actually from now all the way till the event day, 19th of February, you are most welcome to come by to see this mega Buddha sculpture up close and pray to it. Can you tell us something more about this?
I think for me it's a privilege tonight to introduce this Burmese Mandalay period. I mean, if we observe all the pieces that I've introduced tonight from actually different places.
Yes, Tibet,
China, and Burma.
This is a Burma piece.
This is a Burma piece. They share all the same period, 19th century.
19th century as well, which means 1800 plus.
Correct.
200 plus years.
200 plus, yeah. Now, when you look at this beautiful Buddha, basically it consists of two parts. And then when we look, we have a wonderful double lotus base.
Yes.
When we look at the details of the flower, we see that the top of the flowers are surrounded by minute jewel-like ornaments of different colors, and these are made out of glasses, which are molded to the size that are required. Painstakingly work.
I see, so it's colored glass.
It's colored glass. Now, when we look at the feet. They're separated one from the other. Again, this is all wood. It's possibly teak wood. It requires between 2 to 3 people to carry it from one place to the other. I think the overall height, in my opinion, is even taller than me.
How tall are you?
I'm roughly 180, and this is definitely at least 2 meters, if not even slightly more than 2 meters.
I'm 1.75. I mean, it gives you that entire feel that you have to look, regardless, 1.8, some,
yes.
1.8?
Yes.
1.7 plus, you have to look at it with respect and homage.
Extremely respect. Now, when you look at it, it's so intriguing, so beautiful. Now, imagine this is an entire piece of wood. There are parts that which have been added, again, from the same wood, and these are the hands and possibly also the head.
Right.
Now, let's look at the head. The head is just completely fantastic. Look at the details of the nose, the mouth, almost smiling. Let's look at the pupils, the black pupils of the eyes. They're surrounded by gold. And every other feature, look at the chin. Now this is a very youthful, tall Buddha, again from Mandalay. Not only the Mandalay period, but in my opinion, when we look at all the characteristics and the way it's been built, this was definitely hand-carved in a place not far away from Mandalay, if not in Mandalay itself. And this is a big, important city in Burma. Now, we've described briefly the head and the beauty about the head. Let's look at the ears. Contrary to other Buddhas that we have examined, where the ears were elongated, in this case, the ear lobes actually touch the shoulder of the Buddha.
Right.
The meanings are multiple. One meaning is that the Buddha has abandoned the wealth, its princely status, and now is, in inverted comma, a commoner.
Okay.
But at the same time, the long ears means that the Buddha is listening to the suffering, which is a fantastic way of representing the long years. He's there to listen to the people who are suffering. Now, when we look at the top here, we see a line which separates the forehead from the hair.
Yes.
And this band here, let's call it band, it's basically been completed with round, green, almost emerald-looking jewels, but again, these are glasses, small glasses. The work to make something so detailed. Now look at the hair, it's black, curled, and differently from the other Buddha which we have represented,
yes,
which had the fino or Ushnisha, which was just like a flame. Here is rounded. Again, another typical element of the Burmese style and of the Mandalay period, 19th century. Now, when we come to the body,
yes,
basically this has been covered by monastic robes. Look how rich the monastic robe is.
The details are stunning, you know. They even went to the extent to, this you have to come and see yourself, that they went to the extent to, Buddha is draping a robe over himself, and the folds of the robe, they deliberately carved it out or something, you know. You can see the texture.
They're so realistic. How did they achieve this? When the carving, the hand carving was completed, then they applied and they glued on the wood 1 or 2 layers of very fine textile. Which you can actually see very clearly.
Okay, this will differentiate this you have to really come and see. This will differentiate the texture of the hand.
Perfect.
And the texture of the robe that Buddha has and the face. That's why, okay, now that you mentioned, because the robe has to make it look like a robe. They're trying to make it look as realistic as possible.
As realistic as possible. And look, they would not have been able to achieve these folds if not by having this textile on the base, glued on the wood, and then, I don't know, maybe this 14, 15 layer of lacquer. Look at the beautiful color of the lacquer. This is something in between a very light red and rust. Then on top of this last 2 maybe layers, then they would start to create these wonderful designs.
Right.
And then you would have these rosettes made of ruby-like, again, there would be colored glass. Here there would be white.
I see. So we are talking about a Burmese mega Buddha sculpture that has quite a different style from the ones we saw before.
Yes.
The bronze ones, you remember?
Yes.
The smaller ones.
Yes.
They are of a very different style compared.
Totally different.
And is it a matter of different time periods?
Well, the time period could be the same, but the representation, the Mandalay style, it's really something which is different from any other style in Burma. So when I see something like this, I immediately recognize the style. The other one were Shan period, but at the same time 19th century, some were 18th century, but they represent the Jambutai. The Jambutai is the king. So you would see it with very rich ornaments and jewels. Here, if you see, it's very simple. It doesn't have any jewelry, but what is extremely rich is again the dressing. But so look at the drape,
yes,
and the way the drapes have been made.
Right.
Now, what does it mean? It has to have a specific mean. Now, when we looked at the right-hand side, and if we look carefully when you come, there's a little fruit which is held in between two fingers.
Right.
Between two fingers.
If you don't mention, you would have easily missed this out.
You would have missed it. Now, what does that represent? It represents for the mudra, and that is the position, is the healing process that the Buddha would guarantee. So this is about healing. So imagine the people who are suffering, they have a health problem, they would then pray to the Buddha, and the Buddha would give them the healing.
I see.
So it's so spiritual. Now, on the other side instead, we see that the hand is partially holding, again, the robe. The robe flank the body of the Buddha. And this is a different mudra, and it's actually a variant of the Varada.
Right.
What does it mean, the Varada? Is granting blessing.
I see.
So when we look at the two things, we look about healing and granting blessing.
I see.
So a beautiful image. Now, I think about it. Where would a Buddha like this be located? This would definitely be located in a monastery. And I can actually visualize people entering, people praying, and to me, it really gives a sense of spirituality. And it's the spirituality that has been absorbed in some respect by the Buddha, the way I see it, by the people praying at him. One element, it's in perfect condition, very, very beautifully. And it's almost impossible to find a piece like this of this age in very good condition. There's only one thing that I would like to bring to the attention. Look at the face.
Right.
The gold that we see on the face is slightly different from the rest. And in my opinion, they try to beautify it. And in later period, again, they gilded it.
Retouched.
Retouched. But you know, retouch would be just some parts. Actually, they covered again. They wanted to beautify. They wanted to see more of the sheen of the gold. And I think they overdid it. It would have been better if they had not touched it. But this is what happens, but it doesn't detract in any way to the beauty. And again, I said the spirituality of this amazing Buddha. Look how peaceful he is. Doesn't it give you the sense of calmness, serenity, and somebody who smiles, and it has that inner peace? Finally, the eyes are looking downwards. So, tall Buddha, youthful face, looking at the people praying.
Well, you must say that this Mandalay style, please, this Mandalay style, it seems as if they are trying to do a few things at one time. One is that they're trying to create a more realistic representation of how Buddha is because of how the robes are, the texture, the you know, the difference in the texture of the robe and the hand, the flesh. But at the same time, to adorn him with a spectacular robe and the band that has a lot of jewelry to represent his status. So this is quite a different Buddha that we are looking at. Not totally simple like the Laotian ones that we saw.
Yes.
Not totally elaborated like the more godly ones that we
Yes.
saw that of a different period from Burma. So this is unique.
Again, when you look at the size and you look at the work and you think about the carvers and not only the work, but what they've been able to do. And the gilding that we see on the body is, again, some of the parts have come off, but I think it's in very, very good condition. And I like to imagine, but this is my imagination, so forgive me for this, entering a monastery, entering a temple, and seeing a figure like this, over 2 meters tall.
Yes. I think we're having a great privilege because this over 2 meter tall Buddha sculpture from the 19th century, am I right?
Yes.
200 years old, that I think is one of the more spectacular ones I've seen because of the sheer size of it and how it is still very much well preserved and the amazing details to the robe. It is going to be housed in the gallery for a while. In fact, we got it here since the start of spring on the 4th of February. If you come by, if you have come out of the gallery but you have missed this one out, it will be placed in this corner where in this 2022 is where the benefactor star is. So come by the gallery from now all the way till before event day, while you pass your collection for reblessing, while you have your next collection, while you bring your friends here, come and take a look at this Buddha, light some incense, and you know, hopefully you have a roaring and a prosperous 2022.
Absolutely, yes.
This is stunning. So once again, today we have covered many things. We have went back to the chest, Year of the Tiger, the seasonal chest, very much for the season. And we talked about this amazing table here that's from the Qing dynasty. Definitely from a wealthy family because of the details, because of the emboss, because of the gold, and because it was used for a musical instrument. And we know that on this table, Master will be using it for the reblessing on the 19th of February, which is just 11 days away.
11 days.
11 days away. And the seals that we talked about, I think that the seals, which are access cards and keys, must you be using them to bring forth the energy and prosperity from different cultures and different eras. And in the meanwhile, you can come by the gallery to appreciate all this beauty, especially the one behind me, this 2 meter or more than 2 meters tall Buddha sculpture that is simply stunning and amazing. Again, you can look at it the entire day, you'll find so much treasures on it.
Yes. When I traveled to Burma, I remember I went to many monasteries and I did see Mandalay pieces, beautiful, not only in Mandalay, but also in Yangon. But I never saw anything having this height, having this richness, if you wish. So I think it is a very special piece.
I think we are all in great blessing. So simple, come by the gallery, appreciate Master's art. That has the seals of the different zodiacs on it. And also come and bring your friends, appreciate this piece while you get your next Lotus collection. There are many things that you can actually buy here in Lotus on Water, but the other things that you cannot, they are just as precious, they are so precious as well. And henceforth, why we have this series, Museum in Lotus. Thank you very much. We're going to talk about more details about the reblessing ceremony 19th February and what has all these antiques got to do with it next week, Tuesday, 7:30 at the same time. Thank you, Mr. Pino.
Thank you. Thank you.